My friends, how are you, man? You see, today we have very interesting videos. From videos of water being turned into wine and other of UFOs to crazy stuff. And all those videos, my friend, we shall be reacting together, me and you. And all that is with the intentions of spreading love to the whole world, making sure all earthlings are able to live with peace, honesty, and be forgiving towards one another. Wonderful Earthling, if you believe we can make that happen, why don't you hit the like button? Tell us where you're watching from, grab some snacks, and spread some good vibes. You see, I am Wadri11H, and my friend here is Kasungumo. Right out of Africa, it's just of good vibes. How should I be?
So Jesus turns water into wine. Jesus supplied the wine at the wedding feast in Cana of Galilee, and Jesus supplies the good wine after the bad wine. He also says, I will not drink of this wine until the kingdom of God comes. And Jesus supplies the wine for the marriage supper of the Lamb. The good wine is supplied after the bad wine. This is the betrothal cup. This is the marriage cup. Now, water is symbolic for two things, humanity and also wrath, God's wrath. Now, Jesus walks on water, walks on God's wrath, which I'll cover in another video. So just as Jesus turns water into wine at the wedding in Cana, so too will Jesus turn all his enemies, the water under his feet, at the battle of Armageddon into wine for the marriage supper of the Lamb. Just as Jesus walks on water, so too does he walk on the grapes in the winepress. The ark, Christ, was above the waters, God's wrath. He, Jesus, turns the wicked, his enemies, into wine for the marriage supper of the Lamb, because their vine is wickedness. When Jesus turned this water into wine, he says, my hour is not yet come. Still, he does the miracle anyway. He cuts the time short of his revealing. It was not yet his hour. And so it will be also at the end, in the end times. He cuts the time short and returns, revealing himself to the world. Jesus also returns in the glory of his Father. Joel 3:13, put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Go in, tread, for the winepress is full. The vats overflow, for their evil is great. Their vine is wickedness, and the grapes come off of that vine and are pressed into the winepress. Your threshing, the tribulation, shall last to the time of the grape harvest, the wrath of God, and the grape harvest shall last till the time of sowing the wheat. And the angel swung his sickle across the earth and gathered the grape harvest of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, the battle of Armageddon. And blood flowed from the winepress as high as the horse's bridle for 1,600 stadia. For he must reign until he has put all his enemies under his feet in the winepress of the wrath of God. Jesus treads out the wicked people that supply the wine for the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Oh man, that's interesting. Good vibes all the way.
When we are sleeping, imagine this is you sleeping. Every night, your soul goes back to the liminal states, to the ethers. You become unconscious when you're sleeping. This is you snoring. But your soul goes back to the ethers because your soul still has a mission there. You might have a mission here during daytime. However, your soul, this is like the silver cord. But you can remember your dreams, you can astral travel, and when it's like daytime again, the silver cord will go back down here. But you are astral traveling already. Everybody does. Every night. And now let's explain the sleep stages. It's a little backwards, but let's say you are just starting to sleep, right? This is you sleeping. Your brain might still be in like alpha states, but as soon as you go deeper in your sleep, you move into alpha and theta brainwaves. So the astral realm is right around here. So let's say you get into your light REM sleep, and then you go down to stage 3 as non-deep REM. And then stage 4 is deep REM. Deep REM is when your body like can truly heal, like in a deep cellular level. So reaching the astral, it's kind of that liminal state. When you are dreaming, you are in the astral, like right here. Because when you go lower, you can't remember a lot of times your dreams here, because you're going very deep into your subconscious. And so that's why it's kind of like that almost falling asleep stage and almost waking up stage. You are still half awake, but also like half asleep. That is how you get into the astral realm. Most people, when they do their meditation, they immediately drop down. But that's how you end up falling asleep. So if you want to travel in the astral, it's kind of like you have to train your brain to not fall asleep, but still have your imagination. You can still like see and use your clear gifts.
Yeah, wonderful that things. People have different beliefs, you see?
Please do not send me this video anymore. It's not real. I have had so many people reach out to me and send me this video. And I hate to tell you guys, but it's a fake video, okay? It's a video showing the eclipse over there and the moon over there. It's not real, okay? One, the moon was not in that phase during the eclipse. It was in a new moon where you actually couldn't see it. And two, the moon was like right here. It's right next to where the eclipse was happening. You couldn't see it because it was in a new moon phase and it wasn't what was causing the eclipse. But it wasn't over here and it wasn't in that phase. So this video, I'm sorry to whoever made it to rain on your parade, but it's not real. So please stop sending it to me. And I ask that kindly. The moon on April 8th, like I said, April 8th, new moon. New moon, you can't see it, okay? The moon phases happen. That's a real thing. The reason they say they happen is not real, but they actually happen. And on April 8th, the moon looked like that, where you can't see it. And the moon on April 8th was also just to the side of the sun in the eclipse. It wasn't eclipsing it, because that's not what eclipses it. In my opinion, there is some other celestial bodies that we are not told about. That is what causes the eclipse. And it's also happening behind the sun, okay? And if you haven't seen my video on that, go check that out. But nothing's going in front of the sun. It's actually going behind the sun, because the sun we see is just a projection from the source in the firmament, which I have evidence of from my eclipse video. Go check that out. And guys, if you have questions, like I've done 1,000 videos, but you can't search mine. You know, you can't go in the search bar and type seasons, but here you can. Go to flatearthdave.com or the App Store and download this app, and you can literally search anything you're curious about. Use my code FITFLAT just to give me credit to persuading you guys to go that way. It's worth it. Go, and there's like a video of the day. If you're on the fence about flat earth and you just watch the video of the day, each day it's 5 to 10 minutes, you're gonna see the truth. Oh, and you know, the stuff about the eclipse, I was just kidding. Of course it's the moon causing the eclipse. What else would it be? Just for entertainment purposes.
Honesty, good vibes, siblings. Honesty. Being honest.
I'm not saying this will change anyone's life, and it won't make things much easier, but it will delay having to change the garbage for a while.
Oh, that's an interesting hack, man. And then there's this good vibes guy here that came to rescue this cat that was stuck there in some man-made island. You see? Oh, the cat must have been freaked when it was there. You see, it was scared. What do you think? Hey, it is refusing to enter there and being helped. What's up? But it was having some good time, and this guy is just taking the cat away from his fun. You see? Anyways, good vibes,
Methuselah
man.
is a very curious character in the Bible. He actually lived until he was 969 years old, making him the oldest person in this book. But what's really strange is that even though he was alive with Noah at the same time, Methuselah did not make it on the ark. See, the name Methuselah has this definition that translates to "his death shall send." And conveniently, the Great Flood happened in the very same year that Methuselah died. Now, Enoch was actually Methuselah's father, and a lot of people seem to forget this. But Enoch was literally taken up to heaven by God. He does have his own book called the Book of Enoch, which describes his journey into heaven. But it's common knowledge that this book isn't actually written by him, which is quite strange, because the Bible still quotes this book verbatim in the book of Jude. It's literally right here. Enoch prophesied, saying, "Behold, the Lord came with many thousands of his holy ones." And this is the book of Enoch, which literally says, "Behold, he comes with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment." Yet still, the book of Enoch was excluded from scripture, which leads me to Adam and Eve, whose story was actually written down by Moses. See, just like the book of Enoch, the story of Adam and Eve wasn't actually written down by them, but this leaves me with so many unanswered questions. For example, what did Adam and Eve even look like? Well, there is actually this whole book called the Book of Adam and Eve. It's this story which recounts the first days of the first ever humans. And in this book, it actually turns out that Adam and Eve used to glow with light. Apparently, when they were in the garden, they had this brightly shining nature. But after they sinned, that light was permanently extinguished. See, Adam and Eve had an epic story about loss and redemption. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because these were the days of Adam.
Oh my god, sounds interesting, man. But honesty first. And it starts with you good people of Earth. You see, this one used to follow the force of gravity to grab the cat. Do you think that's what's happened? No, I think it's good vibes. Anyway.
By now, you should know that the Egyptians used to worship the sun. By now, everybody should know that. But I want to ask you a question. Do you know that there are two suns? So now the question should be, what sun they used to worship? Because the historians and the writers of history make you believe that the Egyptians, which is the people who used to be in Kemet, used to worship the sun, which is the beam of light out there. Understand? That's what they're making you believe. But now, when you really dig and find out, no, there are two suns. There is the black sun, and there is the beam of light. Understand? That they call the sun. Okay? Now, the black sun is the source. The black sun is the true light. Okay? This is what the black sun is. The black sun is the true light. Why? Because the black sun is what? Beam light. The black sun beam light is what the sun is. You understand? The beam light is what comes from the sun, which is the black sun. The beam light. Okay? By the black sun beam the light out of the dark sun, which is the black sun. The light comes out of the black sun and beam, and it reflects towards the earth. Understand? This is what it is, and this is what it does. The same thing the black sun does. The black sun beam towards the moon, and it gave light. The black sun beam towards all the stars, which is the representation of our ancestors. Understand? The black sun, because the black sun is the source, that's what our ancestors truly worship, if you don't know. Our ancestors will not worship that sun, because our ancestors knew that that sun was created. And our ancestors know that, guess what happened? There is a creator which is feminine and masculine of that. Okay? Which is the source that creates that. But I'm telling you, the black sun is what is the beam light you are seeing here, out there. The beam light. Okay? There is no light can come out of the beam light, but the beam light come out of the black sun. Understand? The beam light comes out of the black sun. Okay? So do not be fooled by people when they say our people used to worship the sun and think it's that sun out there. No, it was the black sun. Okay? It is the black sun. And this is what I have to say to you. I could go even further, but what I will do, these information will be written within the book. These information are written in the book of blackness, and this information will be given unto all people that are available for the book of blackness. So what I'm saying to you, know this. They make you believe that our people worship that sun, but that sun is the beam of light from the black sun. Because the black sun is the source of light. Remember, light does not come. The beam of light does not bring forth light. Okay? It's like this. No light comes out of the beam of light. Light comes out of darkness. Show darkness is the source of light. The source of light has to be light. Okay? It have to be light before it produce the beam of light. The sun, the moon, the stars is our ancestors reflecting upon this earth. Blackness, the black sun, is the true sun. And the black sun is the source of light. Remember, the black sun is the source of light.
That's quite interesting, wonderful, Adrien. I told you there'd be interesting and fun videos.
While everything is going around the world, all these weather anomalies are going around the world, the ice in North Pole has completely melted, and in Greenland they found a huge 200-mile UFO.
How many of you know about the object in Greenland? A couple of you, okay. Well, for those of you that don't know, there is a spacecraft that has melted out of the ice in Greenland. As you know, the North Pole has melted completely. You can go from London to Moscow or to Russia by going over the North Pole now. All the ice cap is gone. The last place that has ice on it was Greenland. Greenland had a 18,000-foot ice cap on it. Well, the spacecraft that is anchored in the center of Greenland created the last ice age 50,000 years ago. It's a weather machine. It's 55 miles wide, 300 miles long, and 2 miles high. People that lived in it were called the Moys. You draw a straight line from the spacecraft to the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., through the Yucatan Peninsula, Great Pyramid, and Mitsubishi, that ends up on Easter Island where the Moys have been dug out of the earth. The heads on Easter Island, well, 2 years ago they finally went ahead and they excavated, and they're all 65 to 85 foot people, full body carvings. And these were the people that lived in the spacecraft that was uncovered that's melting out of the ice in Greenland. So when you think we've been alone, these people have been up there for 50,000 years. The spacecraft is still active after 50,000 years. It has a 200-mile dampening field where no electrons can flow into it. In 1947, a B-52 bomber flew into that pattern, into the dampening field, when trying to fly between Maine and London. As a result of that, they lost power and crashed in Greenland. As they sent in rescue B-52 bombers to rescue them, they hit that same dampening field, but they veered off. They just ricocheted off of it. By testing, trying to get to these guys, they were able to bring a circumference and find out that there was an object 200 miles to the center of this field. On the southwest corner of Greenland, there is a small community. It's the only community on the island of Greenland. That community is a military post, CIA, that uses a compressed air generator to operate diesel engines to run a Caterpillar to run back and forth 200 miles from the base to the object in Greenland. A lot of our technology comes from the reverse engineering of the spacecraft. It is still functional and it's still in operation. So it's pretty important what this thing is. All the nations worldwide are up there with the United Nations, and they're all acting and working together. The point is that we're not alone out here in this universe.
I completely apologize for the music, but that music was already there and I couldn't remove it. Could this be the reason why all these weather anomalies are happening as well? Because again, the weather has been weird, and then they find this 300-mile long wide machine that created the ice age 50,000 years ago, and now all the ice is melting. What is going on, y'all? And the weather is literally acting up. I really don't know what to make of it, but now things are just getting weird. Things are amping up, especially with the weather and nature. What do you guys think was going on? Please let us know down in the comments below. Like, share, and follow for more videos like this, y'all. You already know what to do. Keep up with me on my other accounts, especially on my YouTube, where I go deeper on the esoteric level of these topics at hand. Let's get this shift, y'all. Peace in.
Well, is it just me, or do you also find these things unthinkable? Some of this stuff.
7 or 8 hours, you're going to spend 3 hours. This is medical studies now. This is hard no science now. We've known this since the 1950s when we discovered the 4 brainwaves. You spend 3 hours out of the body into the 5th dimension. The question is, where do you go? Most people, because they don't know what they're doing, or because they're arguing with their wife, or they're worrying about problems, or because they had too many drugs, they go to the lower astral plane. That's a very bad neighborhood. Like how? Well, except you can get out of it. Okay? Yeah. So it's like purgatory. Okay? Purgatory, okay. Whereas if you use the techniques I described in psychic protection techniques and more positive things, you can leave through the crown chakra, not through the 3rd chakra, which will take you to the lower astral. If you go to the crown chakra, which is where you want to go, now you go to the upper astral plane, or the causal, mental, etheric, or even soul plane. Those are all positive dimensions. Okay? The only 2 negative dimensions are the lower astral plane and this one. You have a lot of problems here. But the other dimensions are all positive. And each dimension has a sound and certain characteristics that are relevant to it. For example, if you're out of the body and you hear the roar of the sea, you're on the astral plane. If you hear the tinkling of bells like in a New Age bookstore, now you're on the causal plane where the Akashic records are stored. If you hear the sound of running water, you're on the mental plane. And if you hear the buzzing of bees, you're on the etheric plane. Or if you hear the sound of a flute, you're on the soul plane.
Oh. Quite interesting stuff those was made.
Let's talk a little bit about the Matrix. When you look out into the world, you can see a million different ways that human beings separate themselves from other human beings and also start to look at other human beings as the enemy. And the Matrix is able to do this by having human beings believe so blindly in different identities. Nationality is an identity. Nationality is something that is completely made up. But when you hear that, your ego might say, how is it made up? This country is called France. This country is called USA. Well, actually, those are simply ideas. You can't find the word France written on the earth where France is located. It's an illusion. It is an idea. And the illusion is complete when people proudly say, I'm an American, I'm French, my language is better than yours, my language is more beautiful than yours. This is when the Matrix has completely snatched you. And that's just one identity. There are infinite identities that human beings buy into, and they believe that it's absolute pure truth. I'm part of this religion. Oh, you're part of that religion. I'm Baptist. Oh, you're Protestant. Those people, we can't mix with them. Then you have even more narrow identities, like I've got a lot of money, but those people don't. I live in a big house. You live in an apartment. I live in a fancy neighborhood. You don't. I'm Democrat. You're Republican. I'm a woman. You're a man. And this also applies to the spiritual community. Yes, the false matrix is able to influence even the spiritual community. And so when people think that they're better than people that are not awake, and they see other people and they're like, oh, those people are so low vibe. This attitude, this identity, I'm spiritual, I'm part of the spiritual club, those people are not. This is the false matrix. Everything that I just talked about can be summed up with the word disconnection. The false matrix inside of our minds attempts to create disconnection in every which way it can, including connection with ourselves. And the reason that the matrix wants to disconnect us is because it doesn't want us to connect with our essence, which is love. And so automatically you can see why there is all of this division on the planet, because in the minds of all human beings, they are literally being programmed to see each other as the enemy. And when you see other people through that lens, oh, you're not part of my club, you're not part of my religion, you're not part of my country, and on, you are practicing lower frequencies, frequencies of hate and division and judgment. And so this works perfectly for the false matrix because it disconnects you from your essence, which is unconditional love. The matrix is made up of programs that run in your subconscious. And these are things that you believe are your choices, when in fact, it's a program, it's running and dictating your life. And please remember that if you do this, it's not a judgment on you, it's part of your journey. What I'm actually trying to show is that the matrix is something so much bigger and so much deeper than people realize. And one of the most powerful programs has to do with drinking alcohol. These programs would say things like, do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel embarrassed to go to that party? Are you feeling things that you don't want to feel? Well, drink this liquid and it all goes away. Or, do you feel depressed? Well, why don't you and your friends go and get drunk? Because when you drink lots of this liquid, you feel happy. And how do you know when something on the planet is a result of the matrix? You see most people doing it. It's thought to be a great thing. And when you look at it, you'll see that it's not a great thing. It just looks like it's great. It looks like it's fun, but it's actually not. It's actually something dark. No matter what program it is, if you ask someone, why is it that you do this? I once asked a Jewish person, why do you wear these clothes? I was actually interested. And the man looked at me and said, I don't know, this is what we do. This is what programming looks like. It's as if the person doesn't actually have any real control, and the program is speaking through their mouth, but it's not really them. And this is why when you're on a spiritual journey and it's getting deeper and deeper, you start to question absolutely everything. And this questioning is you literally questioning the programs that are running in the background that are not really yours. You thought they were yours, but now you're questioning everything. Why do I do these things? Why do I hang out with these people? Why do I people please? Why? And so to wrap up the video, what we can do is constantly try to be aware of any moment that we are creating separation between ourselves and other human beings, no matter what it is. And when we catch ourselves thinking that we're better than others, or that, oh, I don't talk to those kind of people, when you catch yourself in the moment, you are breaking through the programs. And the more that you're able to do this, the more that you're connecting with your essence, which is unconditional love. And the more that you do this, you are awakening deeper and deeper, and essentially exiting the matrix that's inside of your mind.
Oh man, that good waves guy just explained what you always talk about here.
Always be careful of how you close the blinds.
This might be something you've never thought about before, but there's a very specific way you should be closing your blinds. The clip that you guys just watched shows a person closing their blinds in the upward position and then in the downwards position, which is something that you should never do if you live on the first floor. And the reason for this is very simple. If someone walks up to your window on the first floor and the blinds are in a downward orientation, they'll easily be able to look in and you won't have privacy. To illustrate this, here are the blinds in a downward orientation. I'll go outside and look inside. You'll see that we have all of these gaps right here that you can look in, and the window is reflective, so it's hard to see, but the point is still there. Whereas if we're in an upward orientation, there are no gaps and you can't see anything at all. On top of this, this person brings up a really good point. If you live on the second floor, then you want to do the exact opposite and have your blinds closed in a downwards orientation. You really never know if or when someone's going to try to look through your windows, but you can prevent them from doing so by following this advice.
Oh man, hey, that's good vibes, interesting windows. Oh my god. You see those windows, they really look fancy. From this side of the world, the windows that we have is just some hole there with something that you can push and it allows in right. Oh, see, but all is good vibes. People may live different and have different beliefs, but what really matters is how they interact with one another. You see, through spreading love, and that way people can be united and just be happy. You see, wonderful source. There's a lot of interesting videos that has passed. Good vibes videos, other videos that just unthinkable. You see, and I can't believe you have watched all those videos without even subscribing. You see. That is to the new guys that have clicked in for the first time. And to all our subscribers and members, you are loved, man, respected and wonderful. And your support is always respected and received with much gratitude from this side. You see, all those guys always there in the comment section, like Minimalist, that Christy Hutchins, that Josie, all the regulars, you're all loved. You see, bye bye, till next time, some extremely episode will be coming soon. Bye bye. Peace and love.